That's a good question. I am living my next chapter by talking about this book, by pushing myself out and getting in front of potential readers and people who maybe have a book inside them also. And there's one hat that we have to use to write. There's another hat when we're editing, and then publishing, and then marketing. And it is a different animal altogether when we are sharing about our book. And it's really important, especially for self-published authors. But I want to say, even for traditional authors, you have to be your book's best advocate. If you stop talking about it, it might kind of, go away. And you put all this work and dedication into it, and your book deserves to be out there in readers' hands. So that's kind of the next chapter that I'm doing, is just putting myself out there, having these kinds of conversations, connecting with potential readers, and giving my book a chance to, connect with the folks that are meant to read it.
Everybody, welcome back to Living the Next Chapter. It's an author podcast that you love because we get to meet great authors from around the world, and we get to be inspired by their journey as an author. As a listener, you're an author. Perfect. I'm going to introduce you to somebody you're going to love. And as a reader, you get to fall in love with a great new author. Fill up your library with great books and fall in love with great stories. Super excited to have Nicolette here on the podcast. We're going to be talking about her journey, so much more. And again, anytime to talk to an author is a good day for me. Nicolette, welcome to the show. Nice to have you here.
Thank you so much for having me, Dave. And on the behalf of all authors and readers, thank you. Thank you for hosting the show and giving us an opportunity to share about our work and our book and all the things.
This has been like 3.5 years now of talking to authors, and every conversation is fun and intriguing, and I'm just a curious guy who just loves meeting people like you who do something so creative in a world where a lot of authors that I speak to feel like there's just so many books and so many creative people. It's like, how do I find my spot in the world? Yeah. But we'll talk about that a little bit here together. I love that. Let's start here. Nicolette, tell everybody where you are in this big world of ours.
Yeah, I am in Colorado, and I'm on the Utah border. So most people think of Colorado as mountains, and there is a little bit of that, but I'm kind of high desert here. So it kind of have a little bit of everything. It's a really pretty area.
That's really cool. Let's talk a little bit about your author journey a little bit. I love helping the authors who listen to the show. When I go to your website, it's right there. Boom. Write the story only you can tell. Hello. And you help authors. You are an author as well. There's some things that you know about the author journey, I think, that could help somebody relatively new to this whole world of writing. If you could go back in the time machine and listen to a podcast when you were early days in your journey, what do you think would have been helpful to hear from somebody, from the future you, if we could go back to the previous you?
Yes.
What would you like to tell yourself and the authors also that are listening?
I think what I would have liked to hear is trust yourself and the author journey, your writing journey. I think there's so much doubt, especially when we're just starting, our writing craft and kind of getting used to it. And I would say throw out the perfectionism, just really write from your heart, and do it in a way that is going to expand you as much as possible. So I think that's the biggest thing, is trust yourself, write from your heart. And then the other thing is support yourself with other people, or mentors or other authors, or, if you're an entrepreneur, find a community of people who are also creators, because I think it makes the journey a lot less lonely. And also we find a lot of camaraderie and support in that kind of community.
Who have been some of the people in your past that have been in that community for you? Who stands out in the moment for you?
Yeah, I actually have I have a big group of community. And so some of the people, I actually have a publishing partner, because I also support people in publishing their books. And her and I are putting together our second book compilation. So it's a multi-author book. And her name is Jenny Wimmer. And she is just an incredible advocate. She's probably 25 years older than me and just has been such a partner in supporting women's voices and really leading the way that she just shows up with such conviction and such heart has been an inspiration. I have a dear mentor and colleague who is also in the publishing world, Abigail Mansu Bonsu, who has been an incredible support to me. She was the one who, I had had my book ready and I had had a date that I wanted it to be published by my birthday. And she was the one who was like, okay, let's center it, and kind of gave me the push. So sometimes we just have to have those kinds of accountability checks or people who are just going to kind of hold us accountable, as well as give us support when we're kind of not trusting ourselves or doubting the process.
Interesting. Like I'm listening to you talk about this, and I'm framing it in podcasting for myself.
Yeah,
because I'm not an author at this point yet.
Yeah.
And one of the things I encourage podcasters to do is to have somebody ahead of them that they can look up to and that inspires them.
Yeah.
Like, I like what they do and I like how they show up, and I want a little bit of them, and I want to get close to them. I want to learn from them.
Yeah.
So have that kind of person as a resource. Have somebody next to you who's kind of in the boat with you, who's kind of at the same spot that you're at.
Yes.
You're kind of doing life together.
Sure.
And you're kind of each other's accountability partner. But also there's one other person that we always seem to neglect. And that's that person that's looking to you as the person that inspires them.
Absolutely.
And sometimes authors are like, oh, no, I only have one book. I've only written one chapter. I've only done this little thing.
Yeah.
But there's somebody who hasn't done anything yet,
Sure.
who looks at you and goes, I want to be like that person.
Yeah.
So don't forget the person behind you.
Absolutely.
And reach back and bring them with you as well, right?
Definitely. And I think I have a lot of that with the work that I do. So it's such an honor, honestly, to be kind of leading the way and showing, and it does also give us kind of courage to keep going when we know that there's people kind of looking at us and saying, oh, if she can do it, then I can do it too. Yeah. There's something really powerful about that.
So you help authors.
Yes.
Talk a little bit more. Let's talk about your business, what you do, and kind of your target people that you would love to work with.
Yeah.
Because they're listening and they're probably they're sitting up straight going, wait a minute, I can work with these people.
Yes,
these are great people.
Absolutely.
Tell us more.
Yeah. So my favorite author or person to work with, because a lot of people don't really necessarily consider themselves an author yet when we cross paths, right? Maybe they have an idea, they've experienced something really meaningful, or they maybe are in the transition of that, and they know what they're going through has an opportunity, or what they have been through has an opportunity to connect with someone else. And kind of like what you were saying, as far as the kind of, the support that we gather around is seeing yourself in someone else's story. And so the authors that I love to work with are the ones who have been through something maybe super transformational, a lot of times challenging, and have figured out their way through it. And by telling their story, they have this opportunity to not only change people's perspectives or open people's minds to the things that they've experienced, but to also kind of reach a hand out to that person who's in the midst of it and connect with them in that way. So people going through a major transformation or have been through something, and they have a story on their heart.
Are you looking for like new authors, established authors? Do you have a preference at all?
I've worked with both, and I don't think I have a preference necessarily.
Okay.
I'm happy to guide authors through the journey. I think sometimes the new author the kind of support that I support that process through can change a little bit. The new authors are really looking for the infrastructure, the emotional support, the kind of the camaraderie in having a mentor walk beside them. While a lot of times, if someone has written one or a couple books, they're maybe looking to expand their author platform to kind of use this as an opportunity in their business, or, if they have kind of aspirations for speaking or those kinds of things. And so, not that it's not, I like to really meet authors where they're at. So I really guide them through that whole process from the writing, producing, the publishing, and then the marketing and figuring out kind of how this book makes sense in their world.
Okay. So Inspired Hearts Publishing. One thing I'm seeing on the website, beautiful website, by the way,
Oh, thank you.
is I see that you have book collaborations,
Yes.
boutique publishing membership, and writing retreats.
Yes.
Tell me more about writing retreats. What is going on here? What is this all
Okay.
about?
I will. So a funny thing, and this we'll get into it with my book because it actually kind of sparked from that. Yeah. So in the midst when I just started writing my book, I had been at the very beginning. I had an opportunity to reconnect with family that I had fallen out of touch with for about 30 years. My dad's brother. My dad and his brother had a disagreement and just let too much time kind of pass. And their brother had passed a few years earlier. So they had reconnected over this, but I hadn't had a chance to reconnect with my uncle and my cousin. And my parents were going to a little town that's about 2.5 hours away from us to Silverton, Colorado to visit my family. And I said, you know what? I'd love to come. It would be a great time. And so I reconnected with my family there. And long story short, my uncle's longtime partner of 30 years was in hospice at the time. And her daughter was kind of stepping into, she owned my uncle's partner owned a bed and breakfast. And so she was kind of stepping into this big, like trying to manage this, trying to care for her mother. She lived 8 hours away. So there was like a lot, and we connected. And because the bed and breakfast wasn't fully operational because of all the conditions, they said, you know what, come anytime you want. And so we just kind of created this camaraderie of support. And the bulk of my book was written there. It's
Really?
it's an 1872 Victorian house that is in the heart of Silverton, Colorado. And the energy of this town, of this house, I felt so supported in the process. It's kind of hard to put into words sometimes, but I would sit on the porch and just write and write, and I knew I need to share this space and the energy of this house and this town. I have roots in that area. So it just felt really full circle. And I really felt supported, not only by like this reconnection with my family and this new friendship, but also from my ancestors. Honestly, I really felt the support from the lineage in of that land for me.
Wow. Is that the house we see pictured on the website as well?
Yes. Yeah.
There's a picture like a blue
Yes.
kind of house.
Yes.
In the
That's it.
mountains.
Yes. Yes.
Wow.
Yes. And it's
Nice.
just, um, I've spent so much time there now, and I've taken, different people there, and everyone, I think the consensus is it's not only the house. The house, Judy was an artist, so her artwork is all over the house. She was an acclaimed artist, but also a lot of the architecture has stayed the same. So you have the stained glass and the wallpaper and just things that they kept intact. And the energy of the house, I think, and the energy of the town, it's very similar to me, but it's both. It kind of awakens you, but also grounds you. So there's a lot that's kind of going on there. And so if you get into that kind of thing, you would absolutely love this little.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
So when you have a writing retreat, how many writers and authors would you have gathered together? Is it small group and personal, or is it big? Like,
yeah, no, it's a small group, like the most of like 8 people.
Nice.
And it's a mix of, here's all the glorious things about this town. I'll show you around and give you space. And then also community and opportunity to kind of work through things together. So it's not a super structured kind of retreat. I want to give people a lot of space because I think that was so important for me in not feeling a lot of pressure, as giving myself space and just the opportunity to connect and let what wants to come through.
And that's like 100% community driven, which I love, and everyone helping each other.
Yeah.
coming not just to get, but also to give each other. Like, what a great space.
Yes.
Right?
And kind of going back to what I was saying before, create that community. And what better way to connect with authors who are all in the space of creativity and connection. And
How many authors are you working with at this current moment? I see a whole list of books here on the website, but how many people are you working with at any given time?
Currently I am working with 5 authors.
Good.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Excellent. Well, let them know, because I'm always looking for guests for my show.
I will.
So
I will
they're
pass
ready.
them along. Yes, absolutely. Yes. And some of the authors I've worked with in the past as well, definitely.
Beautiful.
Yes.
Love it.
Mm-hmm.
I had to slide that in
Definitely.
there. Get more guests.
Happy.
That's
yes.
amazing.
This is like a golden nugget for me too. I'm like, yay. And that's part of the glory. That's part of the really great part about me publishing my first solo book and getting to do this is, I'm doing this and I'm kind of modeling it. And then I get to take all the tools and things that I'm gathering. So like, oh, this is a great podcast for you, so all those kinds of things to pass on to authors and kind of supporting them in the process.
Good. So you said golden nugget, and let's switch gears to the golden thread.
Okay.
Oh, there you go. Segue. Well done. The golden thread and the lineage of the light. Tell me about this world you're building for the readers. Because the readers that are listening to us today, they may or may not become an author in the future, but they're looking for their next great read and their next favorite author, which would be you. So I'm excited about this. But kind of tell us about this, because I'm really intrigued to find out more about the book.
I want to tell you about how the book came to me, and I think that will help the reader connect to the kind of energy of it. So I was at the end of a very tumultuous relationship. Back up just a little bit further than that. I was married for 20 years. I was with my ex-husband for 24. When I got into the relationship that I'm talking about now, it was a couple years into my divorce. And I'm a very spiritual person. I'm a very reflective person. So I had been doing a lot of work. I'd been looking at my shadows. I'd been doing all the things when I kind of got caught in this dynamic that took me so far away from myself and my ability to trust myself, that by the end I was really just a shell. And I was like, how did I get caught in this? My goodness. And so I felt incredibly, I was just hollowed. And a big part of what I was feeling called to do was just trust the guidance that was coming. And it was part of my path in building the trust back up. So I would receive guidance and I would just follow it. Even though it didn't always make sense, nothing crazy, but for example, I received a channeled message to complete a ritual, which I did. And then I was encouraged to present it, which I did. And I didn't have any real clear, where is this going? But I just was trusting it fully. And it was part of my process and kind of just building the trust, connecting back to the unseen support that was around me. And so I'd had a dream. This was about a month after completing the ritual, actually. So that was part of it. And I was like, okay, I'm doing all the things. And I had a dream, and I don't even remember what the dream was about. But I woke up and I was feeling like I was needing to solve a crime or something. I mean, I was full on investigator. I had the whiteboards. I was like comparing dates, and I was like, what is going on? Why is this still so, what is it? And I was looking back at pictures, and kind of in that moment, I had a vision of a golden thread that was kind of just held out by a hand with a black background, and a golden thread was hanging there. And simultaneously, I had a vision of a dam breaking loose, and I kind of got caught up in the dam and floated downstream. And it was very separate. And I was kind of like, okay, the dam kind of makes sense. Like I'm getting caught up in this, but what is this? And just to be clear, I'd never received this kind of vision before. And so it was really, especially just not in, just kind of a random image and symbol. So I started focusing in on the golden thread, and the golden thread showed me that I could use it like a shield to wrap around my body to protect my energy, that I could use it like a sword to cut through the truth, that I could use it like glitter to like sparkle joy and happiness, and that I could use it like a lighthouse to call in other lineage of the light members, which all came through this vision. As I kind of looked into it, it was almost like a remembering of things that I had experienced inside this relationship and before. It kind of all came flooding back. It felt like finding this golden thread or connecting and realizing I had it, felt like I had a vision that it had been handed to me by a light being and several months before, and I didn't know I had it. I had forgotten. And so it felt like finding $1 million under my chair that I didn't know was there. That's how it felt. And after I had that vision, I started writing immediately, and 65% of this book was written in a month after receiving that vision.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, it just poured
Okay.
through me. And it was a remembering. I call it a mystic memoir because it is tipping into like a lot of the spiritual things that I was experiencing, things connected to this relationship that didn't have like a logical explanation around it. There's a lot of clarity. So about 70% of this book is just me moving through the experience, what I was learning through that relationship, understanding parts of the human nature that I was kind of naive to. I knew people did bad things, but I kind of assumed that we're all have good intentions. We mess up, but we do the best we can. And that theory was kind of shaken. And so just understanding kind of how people hold hurt and how that ends up spilling onto other people that they're in relationship with. So the story is my journey through that process of building trust back to myself. And I'd gotten about 70%. It came through. And then I was like, now what? I'm not sure. And I kind of hit that like, wait, what? Now what? And so the rest of the book came a lot slower. I just had to do the typical showing up and doing the writing, even when it wasn't super clear how, where it was all coming through. But the rest of the 30% of the book was written in real time as I was experiencing it. Once I connected with the golden thread, I connected with the Wingate and Silverton. Worlds of support were opening up to me in a way that was hard to explain just based on kind of the things that we assume we know in this reality.
So you mentioned there was like a void, an emptiness, a hollowness for you earlier on.
Yeah.
And it seems like when those moments happen, there's something in us that wants to go out and find something like a resource or something to fill that.
Yeah.
Like it's like,
yeah,
without even us like kind of like focused on going and finding an answer, it just seems to be like, it just like a lighthouse, it just kind of shines out and is looking for something to fill that.
Yeah.
So what kind, like, where were you at in your heart and in your soul and stuff in your body, like as you were trying to fill that void? Had you tried other things and it wasn't working, and it kind of were led more towards this golden thread then through the process?
Yeah, I think it's kind of our survival mechanism to try to kind of pull the things together to make sense of the experience, to move forward. It's just all the things. It was fairly new. It was a fairly new, like it had only been maybe a couple months. And to be honest with you, I was just gutted. I was following the trust and like following the things that were coming through. And I still was just feeling incredibly, just still so kind of disassociated from myself, pulling those pieces back. But really just gutted and sad and trying to understand this. I think I had gone through some ebbs and flows, in that where, of course, some days are better and then other days are just, and that's why when I had this dream, it was kind of like I had like a couple good weeks and I was like, what is this? Where is this coming from? And having that instinct to want to connect or find the thing. And then being presented with the golden thread the way I had, the way I was. Yeah, it felt, it was hard to not, I don't know. It felt consuming, honestly. I couldn't not pay attention to it.
What do you think early on as you were writing, what do you think that golden thread represented for you personally? Like outside of the story that you're crafting and how you're writing the book, but just when you think about it, just you and the idea or this vision of this golden thread, what do you think what was the initial significance of that for you?
I think it represented healing. It represented my becoming through this. I think it was kind of a symbol of representing that we get to choose how we heal through something. And sometimes it's just the small micro decisions that we make and deciding like, I'm going to take the high ground. I'm going to like connect to forgiveness. I'm going to, continuously, who are we becoming? Because when something kind of sideswipes us, in the way that sometimes like challenging relationships or a death of a loved one or even a divorce or all these like big transitional things, a lot of times the instinct is just put your head down and get through it as fast as you can because this hurts and we don't want to stay here for very long, which I get. But for me, I mean, even going back to my divorce, I was very conscientious about what I was doing to be who I was becoming in the process. And I think when we're going through these big upheaval moments, to kind of connect to hope and trusting that we are learning, that we're growing, that this isn't just, some kind of like punishment for us, which it can feel like that sometimes, but that it's the energy is so shaken that we have an opportunity to kind of reinvent who we are.
You talked about loss of relationship between your father and his brother, family members also lost there, the loss of your marriage in that process. And all those, in any kind of loss, I find a common thing that people lose some value. For themselves in the process, right? Because a piece of you, it's a big change. Any of those things could be really me, right?
Yes, there's a grieving, right? No matter what it is. There's, even if it, even like in this relationship, it was incredibly toxic. There was a grieving of what I had hoped it had been. There was a grieving of the woman who walked into that had a lot of trust and, was really changed in the process. There was a grieving of having to start over. So there's a lot that we need to grieve in the process, I think.
And then when I hear the word golden thread compared to a white thread or a different type of thread, golden to me represents something extremely valuable.
Yeah.
So when we're listening to you talk about feeling like or experiencing less value because of what's happening around you.
Yeah.
And then here comes this golden thread, which represents the opposite.
Yeah.
It's something very valuable, very desirable.
Yeah.
That is like the counter to what you're experiencing in real time.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's like, I wonder why it's the golden thread and it's not the
that's true.
Fill in the blank other thread.
Interestingly enough, I didn't stop to do any kind of research before. I mean, this book just started on, it wanted to come through. Yeah. But I've talked to several people who've had experiences with the golden thread, which is interesting.
Really?
Yes. I've had a couple conversations with people and I'll tell them about the story and they're like, oh, the golden thread. I know about the golden thread. And I'm like, oh. So they've had different experiences where they've received, I don't know. So there's some collective energy and it's not surprising. I think sometimes, you hear about things kind of coming through our consciousness that there's a collective consciousness. So I think sometimes we can kind of tap into that. But I think another really important thing of what the golden thread represents, and it's really explained in the book, is one of the things that was really coming through is the energetic currency of the golden thread is higher than like our current currency of like dollars or and
Right.
that we have there's a reciprocity in the energy of what we're experiencing, and we can experience wealth in different ways. And I think that's kind of what the golden thread. And so part of what I feel like where this kind of whole healing journey was springing me to is wanting to kind of right some societal wrongs and understand kind of our power when we can anchor into our values and our our connection to each other and really ultimately love and really lead from a place of wanting to leave things better than we found them. How are we leaving? What are we impacting? What's the kind of our imprint that we're having? And understanding that that's more valuable than I think a lot of society has given it credit for. And as I was leaning in, as I was following this golden thread, as I was writing the book, that's when opportunities, the wind gate opened up. It's like, coming right here. The mountains in Silverton were so incredibly healing to me, connecting back to my lineage. And so it felt like there was a little bit of a balancing of scales. Like, yes, you're going to have to move through this, but you're not going to have to do it alone. And we are supporting you in what you are kind of moving through.
Well, that's why they say that hindsight is 20/20, and you look back and everything makes sense. But in the moment, nothing makes sense.
Yeah.
None of this makes any sense.
It was
why is this happening to me?
And that was all part of like trusting it. It's like, okay, okay, I'm coming here now. Okay. And in that process, there was a lot of things that I was kind of having insight of before it was even happening. So there was some of that was happening. And I think what I would love for the readers that are listening, that are looking for their next book, this book is a book that you're going to feel probably because it is kind of crossing over the spiritual side and molding it into the relationship. I poured so much of my grief and my healing and the things that were showing up for me into the book that a lot of people have said, they feel the energy in it.
How did it change you to write the book? Like you said, it flowed out of you. The first 60-70% of it just came out. But how did you change in the process of writing?
I think it's that's still like a ... How am I changing? Good. Yes. I don't know if I've arrived, but I know that I, through this process of trusting, of writing the book, of connecting in all these different ways, which I kind of document the experience in the book, is the self-trust, not just in like the creative process or doing something that feels a little vulnerable, like sharing really personal things in the book, but just self-trust that you'll be like, that I can get through really hard things and that I'm incredibly supported, and just knowing that.
I think that's really important. And I think for an audience member listening to this, there's probably people listening identifying really with us that they've gone through some pretty tough things. Mm-hmm. And it doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
But what I do love, what you did say, though, Nicolette, was at the beginning, it was kind of like you were given these little tasks to do, these little to-do list items. Mm-hmm. And you did them, and you didn't know why, but you did them.
Yeah.
But it was kind of like, I think you were like being tested a little bit to see if you were open to this.
Yes, I definitely.
Like before we give you everything, we're going to give you these little things and see how you do.
Yeah.
And if you complete this stage, we'll give you the next one. And then you do that. Okay. Now we know. Because I've talked to authors, Nicolette, that they've had that tap on the shoulder.
Yeah.
And they were like, I'm too busy for this right now.
Yeah.
And it walked, and that tap just stopped after a while.
I've heard.
And then,
yes.
And then years later, someone else
publishes the books.
That
I'm like, that was my book.
thing,
yes,
right?
absolutely. And I've
I've
had similar things like this where I get an insight. I'm like, oh yeah, and then something happens, life happens, and that goes somewhere else. That inspiration, that, whatever wants to come through is going to find its, the right person to bring it into fruition. It happens for artists, for musicians, for podcasters, probably. All of anyone who's creating something, getting these insights is really a gift. And if you aren't going to be a, a generous host of it, it's gonna maybe move along to find someone else. So I think getting those little kind of assignments and then doing it, and then recognizing at the end, a lot of that ended up in the book as like a resource or things that I didn't know. I didn't know that I was going to end up doing that. I didn't know till the very end that the book was really anchored in the idea of how we trust ourselves, how we lose trust of ourselves in relationships and staying in situations like work situations longer than we all do it in some ways. We all kind of contort ourselves when we know there's a part of us that's like, this isn't the right thing. This isn't for my best. And we still stay because change is really scary. There's a lot of reasons that we stay, but honoring ourselves, when we honor ourselves, when we can say, this is scary and I'm doing it anyways. I know that I deserve more. I'm moving into something else. It's an important part of, especially building that creative muscle and trusting ourselves in the process. So, but in life in general too, honestly. So that's it. And then I think the other thing is, because so much, the remainder of the book was written in real time, like I was experiencing this was happening. So I think sometimes there's an indication. So this is for the author and the reader, because it kind of ties back in. But if you're moving through something that is heavy or is just kind of dumped you upside down, just totally caught you off guard, the rug is pulled out from under you, whatever, life feels like it's kind of flipped upside down. I want to encourage you to document it in whatever way feels right. Because I think there's this idea that, okay, we'll get through this and then we'll write about it. And even if no one ever ends up seeing it, if you can document it, I think you'll always be grateful to have it in hindsight, but also to move through it. Like, it really helped me get a lot of clarity to really kind of dissect the different parts, because there's really the relationship dynamic. There was the spiritual aspect of it. There was my personal identity that was so wrapped up in all of it. There was the support, like the lineage and feeling connected, kind of the currency of the golden thread, and wanting to share with other kind of open-hearted creatives, people who are just want to do good, just want to leave the world a little better, even though we do it imperfectly. There was all these parts, and writing through it definitely gave me so much clarity. And I think it was really tangible because it was so like present for me. So anyone who's going through anything major, like, just if you're feeling even a little call to like document the process. I mean, of course, a lot of us know like journaling is a really healthy process. But maybe it's just taking pictures. Maybe it's creating art. Maybe it's whatever you are doing to kind of capture the emotions and the energy that's coming through. It's a potent energy that we can tap into, and it can be really healing too.
So I'm going to put you in a situation here, and I'd like to hear your response. You walk into your local coffee shop thing. You're going to grab a coffee. You're on your way to do something. You look over. There's somebody sitting at a table by themselves. A copy of your book is sitting in front of them.
Oh.
And you're like, oh my gosh, right? That's my book,
Yeah.
right? You don't know the person, you
Yes.
don't know them, but there's your book sitting there.
Oh.
Before you place your order, you walk over to that person sitting there at the table.
Mm-hmm.
How do you introduce yourself to them? What do you tell them about that book in front of them? And just make that connection because that person's listening.
Okay.
Right.
Oh.
I want you to walk up to them and just tell them, this book is going to
Okay. ...
Okay, fill it in for us. Put yourself there. What would you say?
I would say this book is an invitation to trust yourself through whatever you're moving through. This book is an adventure of the spirit and an opportunity to it's an interesting question. I feel like the self-trust is like, I know I say it a lot and people are like, yeah, I get it, the self-trust, but it's such an important part for me that it's hard to kind of walk away from it. I think the other thing, this book will show you how like spiritually connected and supported we are when we're open to receiving that kind of guidance. That's a big part of the book.
And thank you for buying my book.
And
you're like,
thank
oh
you.
my gosh, I want to hug you.
Oh my gosh,
can I sign that? Yeah,
that's my book. I can't believe it. Yes, absolutely.
Right?
Thank you. Yeah.
I like that.
I like the idea of that. That's a good vision too, to imagine.
Right?
So yeah.
Well, we talk about putting good things out in the world, and I'm just putting that out there. I think that's a reality for you.
Yeah.
That's just going to happen
one
day when you least expect it. And I just imagine I'm trying to picture you, just the flood of all this coming, and you're like, oh my gosh, exactly. I still want to go talk to them, but oh my gosh, I got to deal with all this in my brain right now. Right?
Exactly. Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. I think it would just feel like confirmation that this book is getting into the hands of those that needed to read it. Because that's been such a big part, is giving people hope in when they're feeling that gutted, like just emotionally depleted, to know that other people walk through it too, and there's a process to healing. So there's a lot of books that support that theme, I think. But when we share our stories, our personal stories, it really creates a camaraderie with other people who have been through it, or even just something similar. I had a friend who reached out to me, and she said, oh my gosh, I'm reading your book, and I'm on this page, and I just got a flood of emotion. And she didn't really share. She didn't really get into what I think. I did ask her. I said, oh, what was it? And she said, I don't really know. I just felt so touched by like the vulnerability of it. So there's, when we're sharing really personal things and things that we maybe have some shame around, or, could perceived embarrassment, or just being put out there, it's medicine.
One thing I share with podcasters too is that we should build in public.
Yeah.
Like don't just hide all of the work behind the scenes and then go, I wrote a book. And everybody's like, I didn't even know you were writing a book.
Yes. Yes.
Like you're sharing your real journey at the time of writing as well. It's not like you have climbed the mountain and you're going to speak from this high, lofty place. No, you're still in it. You're still in it.
Exactly.
And you're still writing.
Yes.
You're living it in front of us, right?
Yeah. Yeah. It's funny that you say that, because that was kind of one of the visions I had when I was moving through this, is that I wasn't on top of this, like I've arrived here. This wasn't one of those kinds of books. It was, let me show you how I work through the messiness of this. Let me show you how the meaning is coming through, and the universal themes are things that we can all kind of see ourselves in oftentimes. So, it was definitely not like, oh, I've arrived. It's like, wow, this is something that is so incredibly, has like opened my heart so much, and I'm moving through this, and I'm willing to like pull back the curtain and show you the process and the story that came through.
It's amazing. See, now the people listening are like, oh my gosh, this is my book. And I'm going to go sit in some random town and hopefully Nicolette's going to walk in and go, hey, I got your book. I love it. It's good.
I'm gonna have that. I'm including that in my kind of in a thought process. Every so often I'm gonna have a pop in my head. Thank you for putting that out there. That's such a fun thought.
Right. It's gonna happen. I know it's gonna happen. It has to. Because there's a reason why this book exists. There's a reason why, even though you've gone through some really kind of tough, dark days, I love that you're able to take this and instead of internalizing it, you're kind of exposing it to the world and saying, here's me, here's what I'm dealing with, but here's some hope. There's something here for you.
Yes, absolutely.
And it's worked for me as an author, for you as a reader. I want this to help you as well.
I think a big part of what I was processing, I felt like I was taking all this grief, taking all this kind of confusion and things that I was understanding about just kind of the darker sides of humanity, and I wanted to make something beautiful out of it. And that's pretty much like alchemy, right? So
tell us about the website. We want people to go there. I love your website, by the way. It's gorgeous. And they can connect with you about the book and about writing retreats and all the amazing things you got going on. This is beautiful. Talk about that.
Okay. So the website, which I'm assuming you're going to put in the show notes, is that right? Or
Yes, okay. I will.
So the website, oh shoot. Okay, so it is offer.inspiredhearts.co/home. It's kind of a it's a long URL. I was transitioning over to another website, so forgive that. But come and check it out. I share about just the different services, whether it's a book collaboration. That's a great place for a lot of people to start. If you have just a chapter or want to start writing but don't have the capacity or the confidence yet to kind of take on a full solo authored book, a multi-author book is an incredible first place to start. And there is a network that's built in. So you're building this, you're writing this and publishing it with other authors. And there's a lot of kind of camaraderie that is built into it. That's my favorite thing about multi-author books is it's not just here, submit your chapter. It's we're all coming together and doing this together. And so it's a really incredible first step. But a lot of times in my last multi-author book, I had 2 authors that had written solo books. They wanted to have that community. And then several people had written in multiple multi-author books. It can, people love it. So that's an opportunity. My boutique publishing mentorship, which is really meeting you where you're at, whether you just have an idea and you kind of want to like get that fleshed out first and then move through the writing process, have the support. If you're wanting to, especially if you're wanting to go deep, I'm really going to hold space for you. Sometimes moving through this and writing, it can feel lonely. It can be a really lonely journey, and having accountability and support and people to, bounce ideas off of and kind of feel like you're doing this together. And that is the writing, the producing, the publishing, the marketing, all the things inside that mentorship. And sometimes people come to me that already have a book written, and then we lean more into, some of the, obviously the publishing and the producing and publishing, but also more into like the book and how you're using it to get out there and connect with readers, to use it inside your business ecosystem so it makes sense. And so those are all kinds of part of the process. And then, of course, the writing retreat. So if you want to come explore a little bit of the magic of Silverton, Colorado in the Wingate, and have a collective writing experience with other authors and, of course, guided and supported by me, then that's also an opportunity. And then one other thing, if you're like, I'm not sure, I have a book idea. I've been thinking about it for a long time, but I don't know where to get started, I offer a really easy first step, which is the book blueprint activation. And together we just flesh out the entire book idea, basically, kind of have, we go through the main things. Why are you writing this? Connecting to your ideal reader, kind of creating the flow and structure of the book. And from there, you can kind of ride that momentum, instead of just kind of, you know, flailing around. If you've never written a book or have any experience, and it's a really supportive process to kind of get that infrastructure. And then if you decide, we can continue to work together inside the publishing mentorship as well.
We'll have links for everything in the show notes for everybody. Built into the title of my podcast, Nicolette, is kind of a leading question for my guests that I like to use here and there. I would love to do this with you. It's living the next chapter. So for you as an author, how are you living your next chapter?
That's a good question. I am living my next chapter by talking about this book, by pushing myself out and getting in front of potential readers and people who maybe have a book inside them also. And there's one hat that we have to use to write. There's another hat when we're editing, and then publishing, and then marketing. And it is a different animal altogether when we are sharing about our book. And it's really important, especially for self-published authors. But I want to say, even for traditional authors, you have to be your book's best advocate. If you stop talking about it, it might kind of, go away. And you put all this work and dedication into it, and your book deserves to be out there in readers' hands. So that's kind of the next chapter that I'm doing, is just putting myself out there, having these kinds of conversations, connecting with potential readers, and giving my book a chance to, connect with the folks that are meant to read it.
To find its next home. Right?
Yes, exactly.
I love that. Everyone, the information for Nicolette's in the show notes. Go and check out her social platforms as well. And what I'd love for you to do as a reader, not if, but when you buy Nicolette's book, I would love for you to send her a message, a DM, something, reach out through her website. And I want you to fill this in for Nicolette. My golden thread is.
Yes.
And send that to her.
Thank you.
Okay? As a way to know that you've read the book.
Thank
right?
you.
Just do that.
Yes.
And just fill up her inbox with all these great messages and encouragement from readers. Okay? And I'm also asking all the readers to go and leave an amazing review.
Yes.
For the book.
Please.
Don't just say great book, great author. That's very kind. Pick out something specific that's meaningful for you.
Yeah.
And put that out there, because then other people are going to read your words. They're also going to fall in love with Nicolette as well. And that's going to help her reach more people with a great message and a great story and a great heart. So the more people we can reach, the better. So that's our role as readers. Please, right?
And it is, like, reviews are so important to authors. And so absolutely. And I am going to borrow your golden thread message. Another takeaway. I get a takeaway. What an incredible podcast. Thank you so much for having me and this conversation. I just so appreciate it. And your generosity and hospitality. It's a beautiful thing. Thanks, Dave.
So keep writing so that I can have you back. Okay. In the future.
Yeah.
Come back again.
Okay.
Let's reconnect.
Yes.
And
I'm going to be sending some
success.
authors your way for sure. So yes, let's keep this author train going. And thank you so much for having this dedicated platform and supporting authors and books. And what an incredible mission for you too. I'm sure you have a lot of wonderful conversations.
I love talking to people who are real and show up and deliver great value like you have done for us today, Nicolette. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you so much.
Hey, thank you so much again for pressing play. As you've heard, great guests on the show. And one thing you didn't hear in this conversation is what? What did you not hear? Think about it for a second. That's right. Not a single solitary commercial for a mattress or a supplement or a whatever you call it. No. Why? Because we don't want to break up the conversation with commercials. So the fact that you're still here means that you are a fan of the show, I'm assuming. So if you want to help to keep the podcast going and to make me feel really happy, all I really care about is coffee. Okay, I just got to be honest. I love coffee. I'm drinking one right now. It's starting to get cold. I need to warm it up. Helping us with our Buy Me a Coffee link over at livingthenextchapter.com and also in the show notes helps kind of keep the lights on around here. Remember, I'm doing this for free. I'm paying for everything. So I would love to have a little coffee donation, even $5 kind of fills up my cup. And I would love to enjoy a coffee from you. So if you're interested, again, thank you for listening. But you can use our Buy Me a Coffee link and fill up the cup. Thanks for being here.